Hello.
Good to see you. Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Greetings all.
Yes. I think I finally logged in. I'm not sure what happened. I had to log out and log back in. Welcome, everyone. So are we recording?
Yes, we are.
I heard the end of it. Okay, great. So it's 6:01 p.m. and the Human Rights Commission meeting is officially open. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting will be conducted via remote means. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. So with that, welcome everyone. I guess I should do the roll call before I move to the next items. Liz Haygood is not here. Joy Eiffel.
Here.
Is Joy there? Yes, I see you.
Yeah. Hey, here.
Iswana?
Yes, I'm here.
Silas is not here. Ronnie, I'm here. Jay
Present.
and Jacinta is not here. Do we have a quorum as far as decisions are concerned?
Deb's here.
Deb, did I miss you somehow? Oh,
Yes.
apologies. It's because I've got you on my mind as the first thing to say. Welcome, everyone. And I'm just so very happy to announce that we officially have a new co-chair who has been cleared by the state of Massachusetts, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a new co-chair today. And they have agreed to take on this responsibility, which is pretty substantial. So welcome, Deb, in your new capacity. So I'm hoping to be doing less work henceforth. Okay, so are there any announcements before we review the agenda? And welcome, Silas. Okay, so the agenda for today is public comment as usual and reports, and then we're going to approve the minutes of last month and updates on the Resident Oversight Board, DEI, and also immigration issues. And then we'll have public comment again and close if nothing more comes through. So that seems like a very clear and concise agenda to me. And welcome also to our visitors, Pamela and Camille. It's good to have more boxes on the screen. Deb?
And Ronnie, we also have the video, which is the first piece of work for the, or not the video, but the review of the video script.
Yes, we do have that. It's not, I don't see it on my printout of the agenda. I'm not sure why. I probably printed the wrong thing. But in any case, we should do that, definitely. And I hope everyone has looked at it. So let's start with public comment. Members of the public, do you have anything to say? Oh, excuse me, before you do that, during the public comment period, the chair will recognize members of the public. When called on, please identify yourself by stating your full name, preferred pronouns, and residential address. Residents are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes at the discretion of the chair based upon the number of people who wish to speak. No speaker can cede their time to another speaker. The HRC will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during public comment. Do we have any members of the public?
There is
I
one.
only see 9 faces, but I see 10 on my list of participants. So yeah, there's somebody there, but do they want to make a comment?
I'm not seeing a hand.
All right, then. Let's move on to member reports. Any reports today?
I'm wondering if we could just do the video conversation during the reports, since it's not on the agenda. Does that make sense?
I think we can make it put late. I would like to put it in discussion. We can move next right into it after approving the minutes, because I think it's quite substantial. And I would consider it like the core of our meeting. That's the only reason. Any reports, announcements? Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
I make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all who agree, say yes. Raise your hand. Let's do it that way. All in agreement? Okay, good. So we're done with that. Yeah, before we go to the Resident Oversight Board and the other bullets on the agenda, I think it's helpful to talk about the video. So Rizwana and Deb, do you want to introduce the material you've submitted for discussion?
Why don't I open it up, and Rizwana and Pamela, since you both contributed, feel free to add anything to what however I introduced. You may remember that we decided on a 3-year plan to educate the community of Amherst about what the Human Rights Commission does and how they can access us through the complaint process, and how they can build a community, how our residents can build a community that lives up to the ideals that the Human Rights Commission is founded on. And the first year part of the project is to write a script for video and produce the video. So Rizwana, God bless her, raised her hand to participate in scripting, and Pamela scripted the portion on complaints because she's the one who manages that for us. So what you see is a combination of text from the three of us. Rizwana, I think, absolutely brilliantly had this model of kind of creating scenes so that there was an interactive aspect to the video, and there are a couple of places where you will see that I asked questions like, is this something we do? Is there such a thing as a town loan? Because those are places where Rizwana had put in this text, and I just wasn't sure if that was something that we do or not. So yeah, overall, that's it. It's pretty short. I think it'll be a 10 to 15 minute video. And the goal is to distribute a link to all of the municipal workers and all of the folks who work at the schools and all of the business owners. And frankly, it could be up on the DEI website. Everybody in town can see this, but basically the folks who have enterprises or agencies that interface with the public, we most want to get to learn about what it is we do. So that's the audience, and that's the frame. So Rizwana and Pamela, thank you very much for your contributions. Is there anything you want to add to the introduction?
Rizwana, did you have something to add?
Yeah, basically, I just am not sure about the timeline. So whenever we start working on it, I'll just go ahead and contribute more.
Okay. So the floor is open to comments, questions.
Yeah, so the materials were sent, it's only a 2-page script or 3-page
It's only 2 pages. Do you all has everyone seen it? Raise your hand if you have not seen it.
When
Oh,
did that
4
get
pages.
sent? I was
Yeah.
just looking at my emails. I don't
It's
see
just
anything.
2 pages. I think it's really worth, Philip, if you can put it on the screen. It's in large print. It's easy to look at.
Yep, just
I
give me a
think,
second. It was
would be
sent out
worth just
yesterday,
looking at
Joy.
it and, sorry?
I said, just give me a second. It was sent out yesterday to answer Joy's question. I will pull it up on the screen though, right now.
Yeah, just to look at it, and then we can decide, do we want to come back to this next month, or can we have our discussion now?
Thanks, Philip.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Deb or Pamela or Rizwana, someone could just walk us through what's in these sections, like in summary.
Well, I'm happy to do that, but if folks haven't read it, I mean, really what I had imagined we might do is folks give editing comments, but
Okay,
It starts with an overview. This is the mission of the Human Rights Commission. And then there's a little bit
So
of,
that's fine. I don't want to push it in a direction you don't want it to go yet. So let people look at it and send their edits then. I think that if that's what you all would like, if that would help you the most, that's fine. I have a general comment about it and I'll invite, I guess if people haven't looked at it, do you want me to make it now or wait? I think it's helpful, I'll just say it. And my general comment is that I would really like to see something about what is a human right? What do we mean when we say a human right? Like it's in our bylaws, but people should know that a human right applies to everybody, regardless of blah, blah, blah. It should, I don't know. And I think I wanted to see more about like, what are the rights that guide us, and maybe even emphasize where, where our laws, our constitution, whatever. I don't know. I felt like I needed to know more about what is a human right. It's often used very loosely, and that it's grounded in law. So people have confidence that this is important to me. And the other thing that
before you go on, Ronnie, just to check, there's an entire page on the document that describes all the different kinds of rights that are human rights. Did that not speak to your question?
So in these things, I was going to that, is that page 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, in these things, they seem to ask for video about how we engage in these violations. And we don't really, I mean, I'm not really sure. A lot of this looked like stuff we don't do. So I guess I wanted it to be more clear. I see the example is good, but then the solutions offered for each example, I don't know how our role comes into those. So those are just general thoughts, and I'm happy to talk to you all in more detail about it.
Now, this is the time to talk about it. This is the time. I'm just confused. Pages 1 and 2 describe what the Human Rights Commission is and what human rights are. So what I'd like to do is actually walk through it page by page, so I can clearly understand what you think is missing from those 2 first introductory pages, because that's before the scenarios come up. And then on page 3 is the complaint process. So it's how do you interface?
Oh, I only got 2 pages, just so you know, but the first part where it says the Human Rights Commission exists to uphold Amherst's commitment to justice and fairness. Then it says we ensure these things. It doesn't say what is a human right. Like in our bylaws, it's very clear what is a human right. And there has to be some, I'm not like a video expert, but I think it needs to be very explicit what is a human right and what are your human rights in this country, in the town of Amherst. I don't know.
What would help me is if you sent the text you want to be in there, because when I look the entire page 2,
I'm happy. As I said, I'll give more. I thought we were having a bigger discussion here, but since we're not, I'll just record that I will give my comments in more detail before the next meeting. So you all have it.
Okay.
But I don't want to imply in any way that this is not great. I really like the fact that I really liked the potential issues identified on page 2 that would impact on your human rights. And I'll tell you what more I would say about that, but I like that approach. Pamela? And I'll stop there.
All right, so I will say that there were a couple of things that were in the text that I responded to in the email that went out to the commission that are not part of the charge and are not part of the bylaws. And so as people are reviewing the text or the script, they should also take a look at the charge, which I sent to you in the email. And
Did
and-
everyone get this email? Because I'm not connecting to it. Could just be that I missed it. Okay, great.
So
So
in-
you
in the
have this
ori-
guidance that Pamela is talking about.
Pamela, before you continue,
Mhm.
I would really be helpful if instead of sending source text or proof text for why you made a decision or why you're saying something doesn't belong, I think what would be helpful if people just made edits on the actual document, just fix what's wrong, rather than inviting people to assess whether your view is accurate. Because if you're just saying, here, we need to add this part of the bylaw, here, we need to, correct this because it's not in our bylaw, just make the edits. We don't need to like then discuss whether it's correct because you'll be correct.
So I will just say that I'm happy to do that, but Philip and I are like swapped with responsibilities between tonight and April 5th. So if you're willing to wait until after the Global Village Festival, then I can make edits, but we don't have the capacity to do that. So
I also find that if I'm going to make the edit, well, I'll do my best to give you something as substantial as I can, but I would agree with Pamela that when the commission members look at this document, that you keep the bylaws in front of you as well. It'll be easier if it's already within our bylaws.
So did anyone have the opportunity to review this to the extent that they have, like on page 2, I think we need to add this. Page 3, we need to delete that. I just want to check if anybody's read it with that eye, and we can, I can harvest that right now. If nobody has, that's great. And you can just send me an email, either with your exact edits or, page number and saying, this doesn't sound right, whatever. I'm happy to do the editing. It's just, I will say, as somebody who has collated input from 10 different sources before, it's just so much more helpful when people actually edit something into the document.
So who else is on the subcommittee apart from you and Rizwana? Weren't there 3 people, or was it just the 2 of you?
It's just the 2 of us.
Do you need help? Should we ask for a 3rd member?
No, I just
Okay.
want everybody to give input, and I'll take it any way you give it at this point.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Rizwana or somebody else can help with making things more specific or pull out comments that you have trouble working with, or I don't know what, but
It won't help. That won't help.
okay.
It doesn't matter who does it. Whoever has the concern just needs to be specific enough. So whoever's then dealing with it correctly makes the edit.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking for. So whether it's not a matter of bringing more bodies in.
Okay. Jay, you have your hand up?
Yes, I don't think that Joy and I, actually received this, this 2-page thing. Because I looked through my emails, and then everybody's talking about the 2-page thing. I was going back and forth. I said, where is this? Where's the 2-page thing?
Jay, did you get the agenda packet? I sent the email out yesterday at 12 p.m. So if you got the
I got
agenda,
the agenda with
Got the
the
agenda.
review of last month's and then the agenda for this month,
Yeah,
but that's
so-
all I got. There's
so if you
nothing else
scroll down
attached.
just past the second page there, that's what that document should be. I know it looks, there's a big gap, I will say, in between the second page and the third page. So maybe that's it, but it is attached there
Right, is it in,
under the packet. So if you just keep scrolling down,
So all the attachments, and you may not know this, Jay, are combined into one document, which is the attachment for the meeting.
I have something that says an attachment with press release, final DEI flyer, liberatory visioning. That's the only attachments.
so yeah, it's something different. I can definitely forward it to you, but it's gonna come the same way in which the minutes for last month's is the first 2 pages.
Okay.
And then if you
Oh,
keep
oh,
scrolling down,
never mind.
yeah, it's a big gap.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, Jay, keep scrolling.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
All right, well, we'll come back to this. Let's make this item one of our discussion for next month.
And Rizwana asked about the timeline. I mean, this task is not that big a task. Once we have the script, we need to work with Amherst Media or another production company, to put something together. And then the commission will have no more responsibility until, it needs to review it, to vet it, and be like a focus group. And maybe we'll have another focus group, but it's not going to be a heavy lift for the commission. This is just like part one, then we go into production, and then focus group time to see if the video makes sense.
Rizwana?
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, my camera is not working. I'll fix it later. You cannot see me. So I was actually, I might even be willing to go and check with the media, the people over there over the couple of weeks that we have before the next meeting. And so then it'll be more concrete, and we will be able to make some kind of a concept line so for you guys also. So, and it might, that the fact that you have brought in the questions also, we might just focus on those target questions and create the scenarios related to those questions. So it's not that difficult. If you have any questions that you think need to be clarified, we can create the scenarios for that. It's just the fact now we have to bring it to another next level, and that has to be the media. We just doing the blueprint, we're just writing the scenario. So that is what we need to understand.
That sounds good to me. I think it's,
Yeah.
The two of you work out how you divvy up the labor and what you do. I do feel believe this is really an important piece of our work, because this is what's telling the greater public about who we are and what we do. And so I want to be sure, I agree with you, Deb, that once it goes out, it's all pretty straightforward, but let's make sure we all understand what we're saying when it goes out, before it goes out.
Yeah, I would be reluctant to go to Amherst Media before we have our ducks in a row,
Mhm.
to be quite honest. I want us to know what the script is before we talk to them.
Okay, let's do it more like collaboration. And if any one of you on the panels, if you have any questions, for instance, you think there's something wrong or something challenging, not clear, just write it down and just turn it in. That's it. And we will create the scenario accordingly. And we'll enter those things. And if you have any kind of a input that you want to give, or your experiences you have with something, we will include them also without your name, anonymously, in a way, nice way. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on this before we move on? Okay. So the next item is the Resident Oversight Board update. And I've been representing us on that board, and Deb is the co-facilitator, leader of that initiative. So Deb, do you want to say report what you want to report, and I'll add to it?
Sure. Excuse me, there's a stakeholder group that's made up of Chief Ting and 3 representatives of police labor unions. Camille is representing CRESS, and then we have 4 community representatives. Ronnie's one of them, and Philip is representing the DEI office. The first couple of sessions were, training that was provided mostly by Brian Core, my partner in the consulting work, describing how police oversight boards work around the country, all the different variables that go into the possible permutations of oversight boards. And then the last 2 or 3 sessions, I think 3 sessions, we really started getting into conversations about what the stakeholder members would like to see in Amherst. And I would say things took a leap at the last meeting, which was last week, where a draft set of bylaws to send to the town council, was presented to the stakeholder group, and they dug in. They started discussing, do we want this paragraph? Do we want that paragraph? Do we want to change this? Do we want to change that? And so the stakeholder group is now making its way through a draft set of bylaws to send to the town council. And there are things that have been agreed upon, and there are things that are definitely going to be have different points of view expressed in the room. And there's some things that I think are in the middle, where it's not obvious agreement yet, but I think we'll make our way there without too much conflict or debate. Yeah, so I don't know.
So maybe Philip, are you okay discussing some of the specifics discussed, adding to that, since you were there as well? And I wasn't there at the last meeting because I was out of town. So Philip, I think you could give a better recap than I could.
Yeah, I think that to Deb's point, we're moving forward with kind of the draft of the bylaws, if you will. So, getting down to what seems agreeable, what maybe not, what the group can come to consensus on, what the group, where there might be some disagreements between various stakeholders of the group. And I don't have much to give us other than that. Maybe
Well,
it's just
I'm
kind
going
of
to give
There's some
working.
specifics if you want, specifics on what issues are where.
yeah, I think the commission would like to know what that group is talking about.
Yeah,
And my suggestion would be, Philip, if you could do this as a separate mailing to the commission to send some of the core documents and background pieces.
Well,
Also,
actually,
because I feel like they need to.
the
people
DEI
need to
office
look-
has a web page or a
Oh, we put it on the
tab
webpage.
on the web page,
Right.
so you all can access it through that. I can certainly send you some documents if you would like, but I would recommend
No.
going that way. That would probably be easier.
Maybe just the link to the direct link to the documents as a reminder, so people look at it.
Mhm.
I think that, this is sort of an important thing also, and I would like feedback from the commission at some point when we have more specific things to say, because I think things are being discussed, and a lot of what's being discussed are specifics that I think will get worked out, like what should the authority of this board be? How deeply should they get into the police's processes, and should, I don't know. I mean, I didn't go to the very last one, so I don't
I'm
feel
happy to
anyone's
give a
person,
rundown.
but I will promise to come back with the specific issues that are being discussed, because I think you will all have and should have a voice in it through me, because I'm representing you.
I'm happy to give a rundown of what all the topics are. I don't think now is the moment to get into
That's fine.
but the
You don't
bylaws
have to.
are structured just like the bylaws of every other board or commission or committee. There's a purpose section. We've got a lot of agreement on that. There's some conversation going on about whether the town manager or the town council should be the entity that the board directly reports to, and there's a conversation of maybe splitting up, like the board reports to the council for some things and to the town manager for other things. The next section is the powers and responsibilities of the board. And that's the one where I think there'll be a lot of agreement on giving input and connecting with the community and getting involved with training. And then there'll be some really tough conversations around, as Ronnie said, the exact roles and responsibilities, the scope of the power of the board. And then there are a lot of sections which are pretty formulaic, like hold on, I'm scrolling down because there's a lot in the procedures. How often do you meet and how many people are on the board? And, do you have co-chairs um, and then some language about independence and limitations, which may or may not have some debate around it. And then implementation and review. It's like this, you're going to work for a while. After 3 years, you'll assess yourself and you'll get training. And so there's 6 sections. I would say of the 6 sections, 3 are probably administrative and not going to be very debate laden. But the powers and then one might be have a little bit of debate, and powers and responsibilities is where the real core is. And I think until the stakeholder group really works through the powers and responsibilities section, and so it's clear where there's stuff that might be it might be helpful, for you to give input. It's a little premature. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but
Pamela, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I also just want to say that the way in which the stakeholder group is designed, there's not going to be a lot of room to have debate among either the HRC or the CSSJC for there to be back and forth, because we're limited with our timeline for for Deborah, Rabbi Deb, and Brian to complete their work. So I just want to be clear about that, because I don't want folks to have an expectation that you're going to be able to bring back information to them for them to be able to then give feedback and for you to bring that back.
Right.
That's not the process that we're going through. So my suggestion would be that if folks feel very strongly after they've looked at the documents on the website, then they contact you directly as the representative for this group with whatever comments they have, because there won't be an opportunity to have a lot of back and forth.
And that's exactly what I would want. And it's possible that I misled the group by saying I'm representing you. There won't be a back and forth. Unfortunately, I'm the one who'll be there. And at the moment, I'll say what I think, as will others. It's, as Deb pointed out, it's a really interesting group with mixed perspectives. And so I feel confident that the outcome will be good. But I also feel a certain responsibility to keep you informed. So I would encourage you to look at the documents. And that's the reason that I want to do these updates every month, to let you know. The reason I'm on there is because I'm part of the HRC. That's why I feel like I need to inform you. Okay, good. Any questions, comments about that agenda item? All right. Oh, Rizwana?
Yeah. I somehow, I guess I didn't really understand what you just said, that we are responsible for something more. You just, if I somehow I missed the point in there.
No, we the commission are not responsible for anything. There's a group that's helping think this through with Deb's leadership. And because I'm part of that group, and I was asked they asked for a representative from the HRC. And I'm the one who ended up being the representative. I'm feeling an obligation to bring back to you information about what is going on in that group. And if you have thoughts about it, as Pamela has noted, you can talk to me and I can take that.
Oh, I see.
As I see appropriate, but no, there's no particular responsibility of the commission.
Okay. So you're giving us an opening, a platform where we can talk to you privately.
An update. Maybe it should be in the report section.
Okay, that'll be great.
Discussion item. I think that would be more appropriate.
Okay, I thank you. That's excellent.
That sounds great. And Ronnie, if it would be helpful, like after the next meeting, we could sit down and go through whatever agreements arose in the stakeholder group. And, I could help you write a report if that would be helpful. So let me know.
When I say report, I'm just saying in the reports section of the agenda.
Oh, I
So there's
gotcha.
no
Oh, yeah.
written report, rather than being in the action and discussion items, which is more substantial. If we put it in the reports and comments and have member reports, I can just report and it'll be smaller.
Yeah.
It won't have to be so big.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else on this item?
Yeah.
All right. Were you going to say something, Philip?
Nope.
No. Okay. So then let's move on to the DEI updates.
All right. Doing a lot of work here at the TAI office. We're have filled up our calendars pretty much, as Pamela alluded, until about April 5th, and then I'm sure we'll be busy after that point, and we just don't know it. So we have Liberatory Visioning, which is a framework in which Dr. Barbara Love does. So we got a contract with her signed to continue the work from the CSWG, in which it's kind of bringing together the community to envision a Amherst that is for everyone. And so we really encourage you all to share the flyer that was sent out and the news press release that was also sent out, and getting people in person as well as Zoom. And it's really an effort to try and hear as many community members as we can. The first date for that is on the 27th of this month, and it is at the Banks Community Center for in person, and online there is a Zoom link that is shared in that press release as well as on the flyer. And then there's two more other sections that will happen on the 5th of March and the 12th of March. And times and locations are on the flyer. I can't remember which one is which, but one is at Town Hall and one is at the middle school. And I don't want to say what date because I will probably get it wrong. We are working on the Rob, as you just heard, the Resident Oversight Board meeting. So we're doing a lot of that. We're meeting every other week. So I think that speaks to kind of the context of, not being able to get that real-time feedback, but also if you have any concerns, definitely send it over to Ronnie. And the website page is up to date and should have all the current documents for your feedback. Pamela and I next week are doing a series talk with the League of Women Voters on their Judy Brooks series. It is the 26th, and the timing for that, Pamela, do you remember the time for that? I believe it's 5:30. I'll let you know if it's not, but it's going to be a topic on DEI deconstructed, and it's really just kind of laying out the framework in which DEI is in all spaces and in every type of component in life, and it's gotten about a rap, I think, in the past few years, and so we're hoping to really just get down to the nitty gritty of it's in all of our lives, whether we recognize it or not, and getting rid of it doesn't really make that much sense. And with that, we are doing department trainings, and these department trainings are individualized department training. So we're meeting with representatives from departments and kind of getting a framework in which it would help their department best move forward, with DEI kind of being the framework in which trainings are being done. So we've done the Jones Library. We have a training tomorrow to finish that up. And next week, all in the morning, we'll be doing fire. And earlier today, we met with APD to kind of set up that framework for their training. So we're moving that forward. That kind of took a leap of absence when Pamela was being both the DEI and CREST director. So we're happy to get that back on our books and get those trainings going. Not lastly, we have youth empowerment. Told you we were busy over here. We have youth empowerment coming up for every Saturday for the month of March, and that programming is entrepreneurship. There is a component in it which youth will be making a product and really developing that skill set, as well as marketing, pricing, all these things to then sell at the Global Village Festival. And so we're happy to get that started off. It's our first programming with youth. Anybody listening, you're encouraged to sign up. Please do so if you know any youth from 6th to 12th grade. We would love to have them participate in this program. My son will be participating. The way that I sold him was telling him that he'd be making money, and that seemed to get him at least a little bit excited. So if you need a selling point, maybe that's it. We also, leading into the Global Village Festival, planning is underway for that. We have a meeting next month, or next week, not next month, next week, on the 24th, which Silas is, attending and helping out with our various partners. And so that's, really going great. I was just working on the performance list. We're almost to the cap of performers. So that's great to hear, great to see at this time. Our vendor list could use some help there. So if you know any vendors that would like to sell any type of product at the global market, please send them our way. As well as if you know any organizations, nonprofits, anybody, we're having a resource component to the market. So anybody that would like to highlight their work, if you all would also like a table, we should definitely discuss that in terms of who and timing, who's going to go to that table, if it makes sense for the HRC to have a table, or if you all helping out and being the presenting partners with this, maybe it doesn't make sense, but definitely something for you all to think about. And then lastly, what I have is, as you know, the HRC receives complaints. They go to the Human Rights Director, which at this time is a DEI Director, which is Pamela. We have had since November 5 complaints come in. I think that's correct, right, Pamela? 5? And so 4 of them have been closed up, and one of them, I believe, is still underway and being investigated into. In that matter, as the Human Rights Commission, the practice has been to update the co-chairs of complaints. So for confidentiality and, not to get out any of that business, we have been in talks with, at the time, the 2 co-chairs, Liz and Ronnie. And now, if a new one comes in, Deb, you will be on our list of the email people to send it to. Pamela, have I missed anything, or?
The only thing I can think about is the programming that Melina's doing for Trans Visibility Day. So we
Right.
are going to have a documentary shown, and it's designed to be intergenerational with snacks, and so I'm not sure of the date, but that's the only
It's
thing.
the 31st of this month, and it'll be, I believe, at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, one of the two. And it's highlighting the Will Ferrell film in which the SNL writer that
Yeah.
transitioned into highlighting that movie. I forget what the name of that movie is called. I was trying to remember the name. Yes.
Philip, I think you said the 31st of this
Of
month. It's
Oh,
March.
sorry, of March. Sorry,
March.
March. Yes, there is no 31st of
I
February.
just thought I was losing it.
Are there any questions of DEI from anyone? Comments?
Just bravo.
Silas?
Yeah, this was really good. Thank you so much. There's so much going on, especially nowadays when we need these moral building, exercises, and it's excellent. Philip, you've done really well, and Pam, you also. And I will definitely be there if you need any help. Just email me or anything, and I'll keep up to date with whatever is going on. Thank you so much.
Silas?
Yeah, seconding what Rizwana said, and Philip, especially about facilitating the Global Villages meeting. That was really excellent. One quick question that I have about the liberatory, the session that's going on with different. Oh, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I think my internet connection is not good. I'm curious if there's still a need for facilitators.
Pamela?
So I would say that we welcome facilitators. The facilitator training is tomorrow evening between, like, so many dates,
It's 5
Between
o'clock.
5 and
5 to
6:30.
6:30, yeah. And it's both in person and on Zoom, so we can send you the Zoom link. We haven't we have the 3 firm dates of the 27th of February, March 5th, and March 12th, but we don't have a good sense of how many facilitators that we need. So more is always better, because if we have a large response, which is of course what we would like, we'll need to divide up the groups both on person and on Zoom. So if you're able to join us tomorrow evening, that would be fantastic.
Great. Okay, I'll
Anyone
definitely
else?
be there.
Yeah, okay, so I would like to add that having participated this last year in these sessions that are coming up, or similar sessions, they're very, very powerful. And we're very lucky to have, the DI team and the opportunity to sit among strangers and talk about very important things in confidence. I found them, and they're so powerful. There's no way, and I think that's where Rizwana's energy is coming from too, because she's been to these conversations. And it just feels like, given the way things are going, communities and community building is so important. And this way of doing it, to me, seems, I feel privileged to be part of that. And I would encourage you all, if you can go to them. So I wanted to mention that. And I also wanted to ask, with regard to the training of departments in town, if there's some way to incorporate some component about what it's like to be an immigrant in the case examples that you do, or I don't know how these workshops happen, but in the interactive sessions, so that our town staff understand, how does it feel to be one of those people who doesn't have a secure job in the town, but is, I don't know, is feeling alien and so on. I don't really know how to put it, but I just want to offer the idea of, because I know if you introduced it, I mean, you're such great facilitators. I know you would find a way in the curriculum to make it effective. And I know there's resistance, so it would be really good to have that. So I would ask for that. Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to say, this is sort of small, but in the 2 descriptions I've seen of the Global Village, I've not seen reference to the Human Rights Commission. And I guess I want us to be named, because this is our big thing. We gave up all those events that were important to us to do this one thing. And I know that we're not doing the work. I mean, Silas is, but basically you guys are doing everything. So I feel a little guilty about asking, but I would like to see our name on there, because as a co-sponsor or something, because it's really important to us.
Where?
I saw it twice in the last 2 newsletters.
Okay.
If you
I'll
look
double
at the
check on
box
that.
that tells the thing.
I'm not sure what the writing says, but I will
So,
definitely double check.
I know
on that.
Melina is doing it, and I should probably just call them, but I haven't done
We
that.
can make sure. We're working on our newsletter for this month, so we could definitely make sure on the wording there if it's not there. I know that we just came up with the flyer, and I know that the Human Rights Commission was on that flyer. So
Yeah, and because it's only once a year, it would be nice if we could all be more engaged with it as well. And I tell myself that too, but I will look at it now that I'm back and figure out how I can be involved. I mean, we're only being asked to do this once now, whereas before we were being asked 13 times over the course of the year. So let's be present. So that's, yes. So anything else about DEI?
Yeah, so along those lines, I was just wondering if we could have a table at the event, so that we're not just there to schlep chairs in the beginning and help break down, but we have a table, and we could maybe even think about handouts that we could have, brochures or cards or something. Definitely like the red cards for, immigrant rights, migrant rights. I don't know, but just have some planning so that we have a presence that's meaningful.
Mhm. Jay?
Yes, under this, topic of, I guess, DEI, this is the only day that we meet this month, and we are in, I guess, Black History Month. What are we saying about Black History Month in terms of, human rights, this month? So I think, Pamela or, maybe Philip should, I think, fill us in about that, in terms of the town.
Yeah, so I did not mention that, so thank you for bringing that up. But the DI department put up Black History Month panels at the town hall. It was also in our newsletter there. There's kind of like a search and find, and it's within local history, highlighting our Black population and community that, really have done tremendous work in town. So with that, we're also highlighted a conference that is happening at UMass. It's happening, I believe, this weekend, in which they're doing a Black History Month conference there. So I think that in terms of acknowledging and having Black History Month on DEI, and that is what we have done.
Anything else on DEI? Okay, the next has to do with the work we've done on immigrants and support for immigrants. And I think Jacinta was going to report, but Deb and I can do that too. Do you want to start, Deb? I can start.
Yeah, I was sorry, I was having trouble
So
with the
there's,
microphone.
sorry.
I was just having trouble with the mic. I actually imagined that when we talked about this, we could just maybe share on the screen the website and then show because that's mostly what we've done is we've put together a lot of resources. But then you can go ahead. So that was my only thought.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think you need to look at the resources, know they're there, so you can share them with people who want them. And the subcommittee is really sort of at a point where we're trying to decide whether to continue meeting and what our agenda would be, or whether it's time to shut down the subcommittee, that we've done our work. The reason we are not closing is because there's a piece that's quite important that we haven't touched. Okay. And that is the lack of legal services, which is what people who are detained need.
I just wanted to highlight really quick the page here in which you can find the Resident Oversight Board's link there, as well as the Liberatory Visioning Project. We are trying to keep those up to date for the DEI office, but just wanted to plug that in.
But Immigration Resources is not one of those on the left column.
Right, because it's on your all's pages right here.
Oh, it's an HRC page, I see. That's the DEI page, okay.
I just pulled up the link and I'm gonna put it in the chat. Do we have a chat? We don't have a chat.
Right, we don't have a chat for this meeting.
Never mind.
You could send it to me and email it if you want.
I will.
But you'll see here the headings. It's sort of like things you can do now to prepare, especially like with your children, who's going to pick up your child from school if you're detained, and who's going to care for your child, and what are the rules, and taking care of all the paperwork so you can feel safe about your family when you're not with each other. And then some guidance on what to do once you're detained. And the red cards, by the way, the League of Women Voters has ordered 1,000 in English and 500 in Spanish, and they are due any day now. So as soon as they're available, we'll notify you so that people can go around and spread them around and give them out to people who need them. So you can log into these links. Some of them also offer training. So if you want to do more training for yourself, like the MIRA Coalition does all kinds of training, and it's all available on Zoom, and it's available on your own schedule. So, you can teach yourself as much as you want to. And you can also see all the different languages that these resources are available in, so you can share them with other people. So what I wanted to say was that one thing we weren't able to find is a good set of sources if you need legal assistance. If you're detained, at some point, you're going to need a lawyer to go before a judge. And all the immigration lawyers are already in over their heads, and it costs a lot to hire one. So we were looking for resources. I understand CSSJC has been doing something with that, and I've invited them to come next month to talk to us. We'll see if they have time to come. But also I learned that the state of Massachusetts is forming a group, creating a group that includes a lot of law firms that have offered volunteer lawyers. And there are 3 or 4 law schools that have also offered to join this coalition. So you can have a slew of well-trained people who are ready to help as needed. But I need to get more information about that, and I'll update you when I have that. But we're hesitant to shut down the subcommittee until we have something we can offer as far as how do you get legal assistance. And we haven't figured that out yet. Deb, do you want to add to it?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add is that the Pioneer Valley Worker Center really, there's a lot of resources here, but for me, they are the key resource in our area. They're an organization that's run by and for undocumented workers, most of them farm workers in the area. And they're incredibly smart about how to do their work, and they do trainings for volunteers. They have a lot of different volunteer categories. So if it's something you want to personally get involved with, that's where I would go, to the Pioneer Valley Worker Center. And they're actually going to have a training next Tuesday on how to support, how to understand what's going on in hearings. People.
So I want to add to that I also think the world of the Pioneer Valley, but the people at risk are not just the undocumented people. There are a lot of people who are legally here through temporary status, or they've filed papers and they're waiting for our government to respond. And a lot of them are now vulnerable. And so there are several go-to places, but another one that is broader in its reach is the MIRA Coalition, MIRA. It's there. And there are others. There's so many good, really, really good organizations. You just pick the one you want to work with. So that's our report. If you think there's something else we should be doing, we really need to hear from you. You'll remember we were just the subcommittee to work on this.
I will say, just to add in, that the subcommittee's work is just tremendous in a town resource. I think that Pamela and I have kind of made people aware within our town departments, that page exists. It's very thorough. It's very comprehensive and has a lot of knowledge to it, as well as the health department and Crest kind of printed out a red card like poster in which it's in multiple languages, and they also have red cards available there as well. So I really think that the work is just great, and you all have done just a lot of work, and you should definitely be proud of it. I think Paul also has seen it and just has been like, oh, okay, like, yeah, we should just do that. Like, the work is already done and we should just use this resource.
Well, the red cards aren't everywhere, and we want to see them all over the place.
Yep.
So what we, the subcommittee, have talked about is actually going around and putting them on library bulletin boards and having multiple cards so anyone can just take one if they want. So as soon as the league gets their cards, because I was pushing them to order more, and they finally got through their paperwork and they've done the order, we'll send a note around, and if you want to volunteer to go around and place them in public places so anyone can take them, then I think that would be great.
And Camille, not to put you on the spot, but are you all having people come in and request anything or providing that to people? So
Camille, you're muted.
I hate when that happens. I'm muted. No, we haven't really had anybody come in and request any of the cards or anything like that. But we do have the poster that, oh my goodness, the health department, I can't remember her name, created, but we have a bunch of cards there. And also, we too have been looking to see if there's any sources for lawyers around.
I think we need to sort of collaborate on this because these many groups have different kinds of resources and expertise and knowledge. And if we could all come together, we've got to find a way to solve the lawyer issue. But I'll call back the Office of Refugees, the state office, ORI, and see if there's an update on the report. They did a briefing where they talked about organizing this and finding a lot of volunteers. So I think it's time probably now to go back to them and say, so where does this stand and how can we tap into that?
Well, for one thing, just an idea, but Western New England University is, in Springfield, and they have, they're a big law school, so maybe tapping into them.
We'll definitely contact. Yeah, often a school like that is, well, I won't. Yeah, we will contact them. Thank you. Any other comments on the subcommittee? Deb? Anyone else? Okay, so we haven't closed yet, but we'll probably meet one more time and then report back to you on the progress on that work.
It looked like Jay was gonna say something, Ronnie. I don't know if you
Who?
were Jay. You unmuted.
Jay, go ahead.
Yes, just a question. There's a note that, Pam sent to us about, I think it was a PDF file and then about the charge, about what HRC can do. And I think one of the issues that is included in the scope of our work is the act of teaching, as well as, outreach, right, into the communities about information. So in terms of, that aspect, how do we teach? How do we get that in, that kind of information out to, let's say, the schools or to some other place about these kinds of resources, let's say to the children, at the elementary school or wherever it is. So what's the process? What's our role in that? How do we go about doing that kind of stuff?
It's a good question because our education approach has been focused on this video and educating about human rights. But here we have this big resource. How do we get it into places like our schools, for instance? Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, one thought that did strike me was, can we function as, let's say, I don't know, teaching ambassadors through HRC to go to the school and just give that talk? There are so many talented people here who could do that. Being invited or, telling them about what we could do. But as long as we, know what to say, that we ensure that we're not going beyond what we can say, be careful about those kinds of things. I, did look at the, resource page there, and there were a number of, I think, guidelines that come from the, I think it was ACLU. And, that, basic kind of information should be, common knowledge among the students and the teachers and everybody else in the area. And that includes, the three schools here, Amherst College, Hampshire College, as well as UMass. They should know those things. They should have that information at hand. So I think that there's much work to be done in that kind of, I think, outreach way. And perhaps we have a role there, but I'm just trying to, figure out, what's the means about, doing that as opposed to simply saying, well, and go to this page here and then look under, resources, because that doesn't usually work.
I think we need volunteers to pursue this, but in particular for you, in your case, Jay, it occurs to me that you have contacts already at these colleges. And so you would be a good person to talk to your contacts and say, here, I have this 90-second ACLU video. I'm sure you've seen that because you referenced the ACLU. Can we get this out somehow? But I don't know. Pamela?
So Philip is planning a Know Your Rights program for students. I don't remember the dates, but I think that that would be a time when there could be a focused effort by this group to share more resources. So their 2 dates, are they in April and May?
April and May, yep. And one
Yeah.
of them is, yeah, I can't remember the date actually, so I won't speak to that. It's in April and May.
But maybe Philip and Jay could connect to start, and then we can put it on our agenda for next month as well. Rizwana?
Yeah, on the same track, basically, I think we should get some teachers involved also. I know Jay is here, but it's very important that we do not go off track, and because of the sensitivities right now that these students are also facing, and these are the challenging times. So we need to bring in, if we can get some teachers and get their real time on the ground reality as to what's going on and how we should approach this. And it shouldn't be not a long drawn process with any committees and so on. Just some teachers who would volunteer to come and join us, or just to share their input. That's all. Thanks.
I suggest we put this on next month's agenda, and that we give some more thought to our responsibility with regard to education in different parts of our town. And then talk about it. And if you have some ideas and know people you can talk to, go ahead and start having those conversations and bring your ideas to the next meeting. Silas?
Just want to briefly note, Jay, I think you had mentioned something along the lines of this in support around immigration for students, and I had said that I would check in with the folks at Smith College where I work to discuss what efforts are being made. And in regard to just that piece on supporting students who may be undocumented or immigrants at the university, I know that Smith College has circulated and has made a concerted effort to support these students through both legal and other means. And so I'm not sure what that may look like at UMass, Amherst, or Hampshire, but my feeling also is that many of the efforts around immigration specifically, or supporting immigrants, will not be broadcast, and folks most likely will not want to discuss. That's just my experience.
Yes, I mean, that is quite, understandable. Because one does not want to be exposed, one does not want to be, visible at the time. There are times, and I've experienced that in South Africa, is that when there is something big that happens, you actually don't want to be around when you are taking big actions. And there's a way about doing those kinds of things, and we may, going through that phase right now. I'm concerned about the students who may hold that, DACA status. It's legal, but we're not sure. There are those who have temporary protection under one administration. Legally, they're here and they have the right to be here, but we're not sure. And so, that's the part that I think is troubling for those students and for any staff, excuse me, staff members or even, faculty members who may hold that status. But we still have to, do the work to ensure that they know their rights. And the word needs to get to them, regardless. So that's a part of what our job is. So let's do that part. And if it reaches them, then then the work has been done by us. That's the idea.
Any other thoughts?
I think more is necessary than just putting this on the agenda next month. Like somebody needs to take some steps to get more information into the room so that we have a different conversation next month. Like, is there somebody is talking to the school board the next thing? I don't know. Is talking to individual administrators in different schools the next step. But something I think, excuse me, needs to happen so that next time we have this conversation, might be possible to say, oh, here's our next step.
Yeah, I would agree that if you do have ideas and you do know people, then you should go forward. Don't wait till the next meeting. Talk to people, see what's possible, and come back with more specifics if you can. Anything else? We're nearing the end of our agenda. It is already 7:12. Public comment. Wait, yeah, public comment is next. And there's no public, or if there is one somewhere.
Yep, and they have their hand raised, so I'm gonna bring them into the room.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
Hi.
Arlie, go ahead.
Thank you. Arlie Gould, South Amherst. I just wanted to say this was very interesting. This is the first time I've come here. I found it interesting going back to the conversation you were having about the liberatory visioning and the DEI. It's very interesting because I was reading the Amherst Indy and that whatever press release was in there. So I went to the link and I read about the liberatory stuff, and I'm going to try to be there. And then I clicked on something and I was looking at these panels that you were talking about. I guess they made a video or an online presentation of this exhibit that you were talking about, the Black history. And they were saying that DEI might be taken away, so they weren't sure how long this exhibit would be up. And I was a history major in college, so I was just like, I'm not sure if like DEI funds paid for it. I was like, this is history. This isn't DEI. This is, and then right in the thing it said, Black history is American history. And I was like, yes, it's just history. Why? Anyway, so I wasn't clear why DEI's going would have an effect on this, because this is history. It's not DEI. Anyway. Or maybe I don't understand exactly what DEI is. And your conversation about the human rights video, it's interesting because I don't really know what the definition of a human right is, to be honest. So if you can make that clearer, that probably would be good. So anyway, I'm just very impressed with all of you, and thank you for your work. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments, Arlie.
Yeah, I just want to thank you as well. And
We don't comment on public comments. Sorry to be so rule bound.
No, it's okay.
And if you didn't hear it, I should have read it maybe again. It says that the HRC will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during public comment.
Right, no, I
But
know.
thank you very much.
So
We
it's fine.
really appreciate you coming, and I hope you'll come again.
Thanks.
Okay, so then are there any other agenda items that we did not anticipate? Okay, in that case, thank you, everyone. It is 7:16 p.m. and the Human Rights Commission is adjourned. Have a good
Okay,
evening.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
thanks,
Bye.
Bye-bye.